From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 15th, 2018. A Palestinian man tried to stab an IDF soldier at the Gitai Junction in the West Bank this morning, but he was shot dead by Israeli forces before he was able to cause any harm. Later, it was reported that the terrorist was a resident of the Palestinian village of Badia. On Friday night, a 47-year-old Palestinian woman, Aisha Muhammad Talal Rabi, from that same village, was driving in a vehicle with her husband when a rock was hurled at the car in the northern West Bank, hitting her in the head and killing her. Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, said it was investigating that incident, which may have been an act of terror on the part of extreme right-wing Jewish settlers. But they are not ruling out that the rock could have been thrown by Palestinians who mistook the car for an Israeli one. It is also unclear if there was any connection between the incident Friday night and the attempted stabbing today. And in Gaza this morning, thousands of Palestinians took part in violent protests at the security fence with Israel, throwing rocks and firebombs at Israeli troops. And two Palestinians set off an explosive near the fence, damaging it. In response, an Israeli military aircraft struck a position of terror group Hamas in the southern Gaza Strip. Yesterday, an Israeli aircraft fired towards a group of Palestinians who were launching incendiary balloons at southern Israel from Gaza. The devices sparked a number of fires on the Israeli side. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the situation in Gaza at his cabinet meeting yesterday, noting also the violent riots this past Friday, which included 3 Palestinians who set off an explosive, breached the border fence, and ran at IDF soldiers before being shot and killed. Netanyahu issued a warning to Hamas at the meeting yesterday, saying if they don't stop the attacks, they will be stopped in another way, which will be painful, very painful. Israel reopened a border crossing with Syria for UN forces today. The Konetra crossing was closed 4 years ago because of hostilities in the Syrian civil war. But today, the United Nations peacekeeping force UNDOF sent several white trucks from Syria to the Israeli side of the border. Israeli liaison to UNDOF Major Nehemiah Berkey told reporters that the opening of the crossing symbolizes the return of the enforcement of the 1974 disengagement agreement between Israel and Syria. Berkey said he expects the peacekeepers to once again enforce the buffer zone and keep hostile forces away from Israel. A senior IDF official was also cited by the Times of Israel as saying that it is hoped that in the future, the crossing may be used by Druze citizens in Israel to visit family in Syria and for the passage of goods. An Orthodox Jewish man was assaulted yesterday on his way to synagogue in Borough Park, Brooklyn. The attack, caught on video surveillance cameras, shows 62-year-old Lipa Schwartz, who was dressed in traditional Hasidic garb, being punched repeatedly by livery driver 37-year-old Farouk Afzal. There are reports that there was some altercation between the two before that, as Schwartz was crossing the street, after which Afzal got out of his car and started to attack. Another member of the Hasidic community tried to help Schwartz but was chased off by Afzal, who was arrested and charged with assault as a hate crime, as well as criminal mischief and harassment. However, the New York Post reports that there were no hate crime charges at Afzal's arraignment later yesterday. Schwartz was taken to Maimonides Hospital in stable condition with cuts and bruises to his head. Anti-Semitic and racist flyers were found this weekend in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The flyers, which support the Ku Klux Klan, included images of Hitler, as well as the image of a black man on trial before a Jewish judge. Cherry Hill Mayor Chuck Kahn told the local CBS affiliate this type of hatred and bigotry will not be tolerated in our town. He said, "We will investigate this matter until we identify the individuals responsible and will prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law." And a follow-up to a story we've been covering for you on hateful flyers found at colleges in Poughkeepsie, New York. that blamed Jews for allegations against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. An individual seen posting the flyers has now been banned from the campuses of Vassar, Marist, and Dutchess community colleges. Vassar President Elizabeth Bradley said through the cooperation of the different campuses, we were able to collectively reject the attempts of this outside group to perpetuate its message of intolerance. Poughkeepsie police reportedly said the individual was not arrested because the wording of the flyers did not rise to the level of hate crime. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS from Monday, October the 15th at 7 o'clock. It's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, we hear from the daughter of a high-ranking Hamas sheikh who was rescued by the Orthodox Jewish Outreach and Counter-Missionary Organization in Israel, Yad La'achim. At 8 o'clock, Hussein Abu Bakr talks about his imprisonment in Egypt and then asylum in the U.S. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Mossab Hassan Youssef, the son of a Hamas leader who became an Israeli spy, and his Shin Bet handler, Gonen Ben Yitzchak. At 10, Jewish Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer discusses some of the controversial issues he's dealt with. That's from the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's the ILTV program Frenemies. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, October the 15th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.